All right, we've got Brian Hadad here with Sports Talk Mississippi to talk a little bit of Mississippi State football coming up this weekend. They've got a matchup with Texas A&M. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great, Kennedy. Glad to be on with you today.
Glad to have you. Now, both Mississippi State and Texas A&M are going into this big SEC matchup with a 3-1 record. So, what's the sentiment been like there in Starkville going into this weekend?
It's been some cautious optimism. I think the way that State played down at LSU has Mississippi State fans wondering how they'll match up with Texas A&M. But at the same time, A&M is a series that State's done pretty well in over the past few years. They won last year in College Station. Will Rogers had a really great game against the Aggies a season ago. Obviously, the game being at home is a plus for Mississippi State. So this all the indicators are there to have a really good game on Saturday, and it really feels like it's a toss-up as we're sitting here today on a Tuesday.
Yeah, did that loss to LSU a couple weeks ago do anything big for the confidence for the Bulldogs?
I think for the team itself, they're fine. They're able to shake that off. They had the get right game last weekend with Bowling Green where they dominated from the start of the game. For fans, I mean, that was a bitter pill to swallow. A lot of MSU fans were pretty confident that they were going to go down to Baton Rouge and win that game. And I thought that they had a lot of opportunities to win that game. But at the end of the day, LSU, just better athletes on both sides of the ball, were able to kind of out-talent Mississippi State. And that's a concern because, with Texas A&M, they're a team that traditionally is going to out-recruit Mississippi State year after year. So State has to play smarter and play cleaner than they did against LSU if they want to have a chance to beat Texas A&M.
How effective do you think Will Rogers can be against this A&M defense?
I think he can be very effective. When he has time to throw, he has been really good in his career. And like I said, a year ago against A&M, had 3 touchdown passes, was well over 400 yards. State did a really good job of protection. Now, it helped last year that you had a top 10 NFL draft choice over there at left tackle, Charles Cross, now doing his thing on Sundays. Mississippi State's offensive line has been okay this year. They do have the question mark of their left tackle, Travius Johnson, known as Dollar Bill here in Starkville. He was injured against Bowling Green and came out of the game. Mike Leach is not a coach that updates injuries by any stretch of the imagination, so we don't know if he'll be available on Saturday just yet. But that's obviously something to watch because this A&M defense, they're very good at getting after the quarterback. They have so much talent up front. It's young talent. It's still, they're still finding their way a little bit, but those guys can get after the quarterback. State has to protect Will Rogers to have any chance to win on Saturday.
Speaking of that talent, so now on the other side of the ball, how do you think the Bulldogs defense will match up against Max Johnson and this Aggie offense?
Well, State's a pretty good run defense, or at least they have been thus far this year. So, slowing down A-Chain is going to be such a huge task for them. But I feel like if they can do that and they put the game on to Max Johnson's shoulders, that's their best chance for victory. From what I've seen from Johnson, I saw him a year ago with LSU and he came into Starkville and was able to beat Mississippi State there. But I don't think if State can make A&M one-dimensional and really focus on the passing game, I don't know that, especially without Anaya Smith, that A&M can get the job done in the passing game to have a chance to beat Mississippi State. So they've really, I don't know, limit, contain, I don't know what words you want to use. A-Chain's going to get his yards, but you've got to put that game onto Max Johnson's shoulders and make him beat you.
Right. What are some keys you think Mississippi State needs to focus on if they want to beat A&M this weekend then?
Like I said, we go back to that LSU game. State had drop passes. They had untimely penalties. They had some turnovers in awful situations. They weren't able to protect Will Rogers. It felt like they made their own mistakes and LSU capitalized on them, which was, that's exactly what you need to do. If State plays a clean game, I feel like they should be able to win this football game. But if it's 3rd and 2 and the ball hits you in the hands, you've got to catch it. If it's 3rd and 2 and they're going to blitz, you've got to find the right play call and get into that. When it's time to make the big play, State has to make it. If State plays a clean game, if they can limit their mistakes, they have a great shot on Saturday.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of analysts and even betting sites are pretty torn on what this matchup is going to look like. And a lot of people are saying that with Anaya Smith out, Bulldogs really do have a good chance to take this one. So, unbiased opinion, you're not affiliated with Mississippi at this point. Who do you think takes this game?
I think Mississippi State's going to win. I like Will. I like having the better quarterback. I think Will Rogers is just a better quarterback than Max Johnson. The game being in Starkville certainly helps. And without Smith, I like the 5-star kid Stewart. I think he's very good, but I don't know who else is going to step up for the Aggies in that passing game. I just feel like there's too many question marks over there. I think State's going to get the win here and move forward.
You have a score prediction?
I think it's going to be kind of low scoring, nothing, not in the teens or anything like that, but 28-20, 28-24, something like that. A&M has just struggled to score this year, against App State, against Miami, and even against Arkansas. They only had 16 offensive points. It's A&M. I think if you get this game into the 20s, it's going to be difficult for A&M to win.